What's up everyone, it's Dakota and welcome back to another Pioneer video. And today the Magic Gods have answered our prayers, not with, stopping us from blundering and making misplays and things like that, but sending a ton of angels. Yeah, there's a lot of setup for that joke, but yeah, today we're going to be looking at the Selesnya Angels deck and just checking it out, it just being a different deck that we have not already went over. In 2022, there haven't been really many more advancements in the Pioneer format, really no bannings, and of course there's been like the usual challenges and things like that have come up, but I thought this deck was interesting enough to kind of go over it this week, and really probably has some legs and could potentially be a very good deck in the format. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump over to the deck and see what Selesnya Angels is all about. So here we have Selesnya Angels piloted by Carson Bell, who took it to a 6-2 finish in the face-to-face Tour Championship, Calgary Cycle 1 Regional Championship. Well, before we get too deep into the deck and kind of try to figure out what the heck it's doing, so on and so forth, y'all know that I got a shill. So if you like videos like this and you want to see more, you are interested in like modern content, some of the other random stuff that I end up posting, be sure to subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you know when those videos get posted. Go ahead and follow me on Twitch at crawdaddy_23 to catch some of the future live streams that we're going to be having, hopefully here soon, now that things have kind of calmed down after the holiday season. And of course, there's a link in the description to join the Discord server as well. Go ahead, join there, talk about Magic, ask your questions, theories, so on and so forth, stuff like that. Love going over that kind of stuff. Really kind of scratches the itch that I have to like play Magic, even though I have not really had the time to play that much here recently. But yeah, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at Selesnya Angels. So as you can probably tell, Selesnya Angels is primarily an angel deck. However, there are some of the cards in here that are not angels, so I think it's kind of misleading, but I digress. So we'll start with some of the non-angel cards. You have Bishop of Wings, which not an angel does care about angels. So whenever an angel enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 4 life, and when an angel dies, you create a 1/1 spirit token with flying. This is not some weird you turn spirits into mana, like Kai card, bird stuff, whatever. This is an honest to God, true, like, angel support card for this deck. And the gaining of 4 life when an angel comes into play pairs very well with Resplendent Angel, which cares if you gain 5 or more life in a turn. So with cards like Bishop of Wings in play and like Giada and stuff like that, you could really just play cheap cards like Youthful Valkyrie, which is an angel. You have not Skyclave Cleric, even though that does gain you 2 life. You have like Realm Walker and Redain at 3 mana that are, well, Redain's not an angel? Wow. That's kind of awkward. You have Realm Walker, who's a changeling, who's every creature type, which means that it's an angel, and lets you cast some of your other like angel spells off the top of your library. Also noticing that these angel cards aren't really that expensive with your Righteous Valkyrie and Resplendent Angels. Being under 3 mana, so you get to play cards like Collected Company, which is awesome. Obviously, getting to just Collected Company into like a Righteous Valkyrie and a Bishop of Wings. Righteous Valkyrie saying whenever an angel or cleric enters the battlefield under control, you gain life equals that creature's toughness. If you already have a Resplendent Angel in play and you Collected Company into a Righteous Valkyrie and a Bishop of Wings, you're always going to be able to make an angel, and you're always going to get to gain like 8 life a turn with Resplendent Angel, which is a lot. I mean, realistically, like you can just like end the game that way, just getting to make a 4/4 every turn. Uh, yeah, I mean that's pretty good. Um, and you notice that you have like a lot of white mana symbols here, minus like the Realm Walker and stuff. Means you get to play cards like Nykthos, and you get to make tons of mana, which we can sink into cards like Kayla's Reconstruction. I hope I'm saying that right, and Amiria's Call. So Amiria's Call can double as a land. You can pay 3 life to have it come into play untapped. It also just creates 2 4/4 Angel Warrior creature tokens with flying, and then non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn. Can protect like your Bishop of Wings, your no Gyada's an angel. Wow, your Storm, your Skyclave Cleric, which I think is just supposed to be like another land in this deck, slash just a way to gain life and get some value from the Righteous Valkyrie. Kayla's Reconstruction being the more interesting one, you look at the top 7 cards of your library and you put up to X artifact and or creature cards with mana value 3 or less from among them onto the battlefield. So for 4 mana, you get one out of your seven. For two, you get two, so on and so forth. So if you can pay 7 mana into X, you can look at the top seven and just put all of them into play. Of course, getting to stack up on like Righteous Valkyrie or like Resplendent Angels, Bishop of Wings, even like Giadas and hitting like your Tomics and stuff like that is big game, honestly. You are able to just put a ton of permanents into play with this one card, and even just like naturally flooding out, where if you have six, seven, 8 lands in play, having 8 lands means that you can cast X for 5 and really just as easily get back in the game after your opponent rats your board. Collected Company being like the go-to. Looking at the top six, put two up to two creatures with mana value 3 or less onto the battlefield, and the rest to the bottom of your library. The OG can do it at instant speed. Obviously, looking at one less card than Reconstruction, but cheaper and at instant speed is pretty good. That is pretty awesome. That's always been the great part about Collected Company. Just a way to kind of get to cheat on mana to get some of these creatures into play. And really getting to put like Resplendent Angel, Righteous Valkyrie, like I said, Valkyrie, Bishop of Wings, or like Giada and Righteous Valkyrie. So on any combination of like your main hitters that you end up getting into play, even being able to hit some of your one-ofs ends up being like pretty good for you. And especially with Reconstruction, like the higher that you go for X, technically the more mana that you end up generating for the permanents that you put into play that you paid into the Reconstruction. You have two portable hull here. I'm assuming this is just to kind of, hedge against some of the aggressive decks in the format. Getting to hit a lot of the stuff in like the Atarka red deck, getting to hit stuff in the mono red deck, some of the stuff in the mono green deck as well. Looking at the mana base, you have a Beseiju, which can interact really well with some of like the red black mid range deck. You can mess with like their Kiki Mirror Breaker, shenanigan stuff, whatever the front side of it is, because I can almost never remember what that card is. On top of that, also getting to deal with the vehicles from the Greasefang deck, which can be nice. You have Branchloft Pathway, you have Brushland, you have not that card. You have Overgrown Farmland, you have Temple Garden just being your green-white dual lands. You have 4 plains, and you are not playing any basic forests mainly because you're playing like Collected Company and one Realm Walker. The rest of the stuff that you definitely want white mana for. So having like the plains, you can play one Mutavault, which also is all creature types, which means it gets to be an angel. A Ganjo gets to be removal. Cave of the Frost Dragon, I'm assuming is just in here because it can just end the game on its own, really. You can get it into play, and for 5 mana to like activate it, I guess isn't like the absolute worst thing. When you sometimes just need like that extra flyer to kind of help close out the game. Of course, we talked to Nykthos, the one of in the deck. You definitely don't want to draw multiple copies of these. This is a deck that is not going to lean super heavy on like the devotion aspect of the deck, but you definitely have like that benefit of just getting to play one copy of it, and if you draw it, it ends up being pretty good, I would imagine, a lot of the time. Just because if you have some of these in play, you have end up having like 9 mana and you can max out on the Reconstruction and get to play like huge Collected Companies or even Amelia's Calls and stuff as early as like turn 4, I would imagine. Sideboard, just your typical like toxic stuff that you want to deal with. Interesting cards being like Destroy Evil, which gives you the option to essentially smite the monstrous, or you can tag enchantments with it. You have Rest in Peace, of course, for the graveyard decks. Archon, if you kind of want to turn into this uh, really like kind of like taxi type deck. You have Tomic, which basically says that your lands on the battlefield and land cards in the graveyard can be the target spells or abilities, and your opponents cannot play lands from the graveyard. This kind of tackles the Lotus Field combo decks because they can't untap like their Lotus Fields and stuff repeatedly. I also believe that you cannot copy anything with the Thespian stage as well with Tomic. I'm like 99.9% sure that that is something that you can't do. So you can kind of turn into a tax deck. Brutal Cathar, while it is not an angel, nor is it a cleric, it's also just a very good like piece of removal that can flip back and forth and exile multiple cards from your opponent's side of the field and can give you some good value, as well as just being an annoying attacker on the front side too, getting be a 3/3 with first strike and dinging your opponent for 3 if they want to point a spell at its face. More copies of Redain, with both halves being pretty good in certain matchups. A card that you don't really see that often, I mean, really outside of the standard format that it was legal in. Vivian Reed, the OG Vivian Reed, getting to search for creatures. You get to destroy an artifact, enchantment, or a creature with flying with its minus ability. And then, of course, the emblem, giving your creatures +2/+2, vigilance, trample, and indestructible. Essentially makes them impossible to deal with, short of, exile-based removal, and you're probably going to need a wrath for that as well. I guess not really because they don't have hexproof, but you know what I mean. Like just getting a board full of angels that are going to have vigilance, are going to be attacking every turn, being super aggressive like you want to be, and having them be indestructible. Your opponent is going to need mass exile removal if they want to deal with a board full of creatures and a Vivian Reed emblem. Of course, if you've been plussing, you're probably winning the game anyway, but I digress. You have cards like Pithing Needle, Shaper Sanctuary. The benefit of like your creatures being like super cheap is that you definitely get more value from Shaper Sanctuary just getting to play this. Opponent targets one of them with a spell, you end up getting to draw a card from it, and then just replace the angel that you played, which usually can be good enough. So that's the Selesnya Angels deck for Pioneer. Definitely an interesting deck. One that, at first glance seems like, oh, this isn't an angel deck. There's not really many synergies with it. And besides the Skyclave apparition, like really all these cards kind of work well together. And of course, Redain like laughs at me because I immediately contradict myself. But a lot of these cards do kind of play in with each other and they play nice with each other on top of just the insane burst of like card advantage that you can get from Reconstruction, Collected Company, even getting to cast like an Emeria's Call, like not the worst thing if you have to play it as a land, but also can be like a slam dunk just paying 7 mana to put 2/4/4s into play and protecting some of your other, idiots that you have in play. Ironically enough, getting to protect Redain, even though Redain should definitely be an angel god or some way. I don't know. This card just hurts my brain trying to think about it now. So yeah, that is the Selesnya Angels deck for Pioneer. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like on the video. Comment if you've played against this deck, or if you are playing this deck, or if you hate it, like it, whatnot. If you're interested in trying it out, of course, I am loving to hear people's opinions on decks that I go over, and if I should play them for like videos and stuff like that. Um, of course, follow me on Twitch as well at crawdaddy_23 to catch future live streams and things like that. Or if you're watching this in the future, you know, ones that I'm currently doing, hopefully currently doing, all that kind of like metagamey, blah 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 stuff. So with that all out of the way, I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next video.